In 1 Thessalonians, twice Paul talks about Jesus coming from heaven. He talks about Jesus coming from heaven to rescue his followers from God's judgment. That's in chapter 1.
Okay.
And at the end of the letter, he talks about the coming of Jesus from heaven, but he uses some images that would be very familiar to anybody living in the Roman Empire.
Okay.
So Paul is saying the coming of Jesus from heaven, it's like a scene that you will have seen take place in the forum of any city in the empire. A victorious Roman general rides a majestic white horse and arrives at the head of a cohort of his soldiers. The adjutant in charge gets the troops to halt. An officer shouts, the military trumpet blares, another officer reads out a decree that lists all the general's victories, and soon they will be inscribed on victory arches and temple walls, and they'll be attributed to the power of the emperor, who calls himself Son of God. So Paul picks up that very familiar scene, and he imagines the coming of Jesus from heaven in those terms. But of course, the victory, that's where the trumpet comes from. The victory that Jesus is proclaiming is his victory over death. And in 1 Thessalonians, that has a very important pastoral function, because the Thessalonian Christians are very anxious that their loved ones who have already died are going to miss out on salvation. Paul is keen to say, look, they won't miss out on salvation, because when the Lord comes, they will be raised first. And those of us who are left will be raised, and then we'll all be gathered together by Jesus in the air. That's been turned into the idea by some of an event called the rapture. Is that what Paul is really saying? Or is he just using this kind of imagery that says the essential victory that Jesus has won is over every kind of death, and none of his people is going to be excluded from? But elsewhere, Paul can look forward to the future without seeing the coming of Jesus from heaven as the climax of it all. Examples from Pauline writings like Colossians and Ephesians, which don't mention any kind of second coming at all as the culmination of salvation. They talk much more about what we might call a cosmic reconciliation, bringing all things in heaven and earth together.